Build a highly profitable real estate machine with explosive, exponential growth that works harder for you than you work for it, while living a life by design. Breakthroughs are all around you, but you don't see them until now. Join Jason Williford here at the Ultimate Real Estate Machine as he converses with highly respected and world-renowned experts from inside and outside the real estate industry. You'll discover proven business, marketing, and sales strategies that transform you into the most trusted, dominant, and influential expert in your market, the preeminent agent. Each episode brings you one step closer to the highly profitable and fulfilling real estate business that you've been longing for. Here's your host, Jason Williford.
Well, hey, everybody. I have a very special guest on today that I know is going to drop some diamond nuggets, not even golden nuggets, but diamond nuggets. Miss Tammi Montgomery, she's been the #1 real estate team in Louisiana since 2017. She got licensed in October 2010. So she's been in the business for 12 years, not 30 years. And she generated in 2021 over $200 million in real estate volume with 428 units. Magnificent job. And she does it running very lean and mean with her team that I know has to be highly profitable. And she has multiple revenue pillars that are built in her business that gives her more profitability, but also gives her clients a lot more client experience as well. Without further ado, thanks for being on, Miss Tammi. How are you doing?
Good, Jason. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Well, shoot, can you tell us a little bit more about Miss Tammi Montgomery? I know that you're at your lake house right now. Congratulations on your purchase, and I've seen that you also have a place in Dallas. But shoot, let us know a little bit about you.
Sure. A little professional information. I was licensed in October of 2010 when I was 45 years old. So you can do the math.
You're young.
Yes. Well, the story behind that was I had been retired from an advertising career. And my husband said, you don't want to get your real estate license. And so like all the good wives and partners that you know, I did exactly what I wanted to do. I went out and got my real estate license, and quickly the trajectory of my being a solo agent and then a team, I always wanted a team because I love to help others and elevate others. And so from there, fast forward from 23 million my first year as a rookie to
wow,
almost 201 million in 2021 with my fantastic environment that I operate in, which is my team and my admin and my staff.
That's an amazing job. Actually, starting out, that's an amazing job of doing $23 million in year #1. And if I had to bet, if I was a betting man, and I am sometimes, that marketing background of yours probably paid off pretty big from the beginning, and still pays off in your business, because that's the if you don't crack the code of client acquisition and know how to acquire new clients, not only acquire them, but also how do we make those clients lifelong clients as well too, which I know you do an amazing job of. Would I be right or wrong in that assumption?
I think that's the key to this whole business is lifelong clients, because my clients are actually my referral ambassadors. And we have a great referral business, and we do it all. We do online leads. I pay for leads. We do referrals. We list a lot in our market. So our sign calls are great, and we've just got a good thing going. And I had a mindset I'm going to share with you today that I've never spoken to anyone about this because this is a new thing, but I had a mindset that I had 5 agents. That's all we were going to do. And #1 in our, we were just happy, kind of fat and happy. You've heard people say. And I was talking to a couple of people out, you know how you have friends like you and I all around the United States. And they were like, Tammi, you should scale your team because you can only get so much profit out of each agent. And if you want more profit, you need more people. So I started thinking. So that is our goal for 2022, is to scale the team, more people, more profit, and expanding to a South Louisiana location.
I have no doubt that you will be super successful at that. And here's why. Number one, you're a marketer. You're not just a marketer, you're a master marketer, but also you've built systems and processes that are duplicable into another market. Because you and I have also had those conversations a time or two about, you scaling into another market, and the systems that you have that work so great where you're at right now would work just as great in another market, right?
If you're doing it right, you should be able to drop me in any market, and I should be able to go. Plus I have the help of a friend, Jason Williford, and his fantastic book that he recently published. There, you talk about gold. There's some good stuff in there. So, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I'd highly recommend that you follow Jason and get that book if you don't already have it.
Thank you. That's sweet of you. What would you say one or two or three of your top takeaways from the book were?
There's a lot about marketing. It aligned with my business principles and values so much, because you come from such an area of contribution, and we operate from an abundance mindset, not scarcity, so that there's plenty for everybody. And I think that's
Yes.
part of something that you always, that's your value too. And we also, I put that over onto my team members, that I let them make money. I give them opportunity. That's one thing that team leads, I think, sometimes stump their toe, because they vet their leads. They don't give their team the good stuff. So
Cherry pick.
yes, they do cherry pick, and I don't cherry pick.
Yeah.
You get what you get,
Love it. And now that we go into it, because I knew you would be amazing at this, and it's amazing how much that you get, like over 200 million in business. And wait till the listeners hear of how many agents you have that do that. How many?
5.
5 agents.
Yeah.
5 agents. Are you out in the field too?
I do some listings. I don't do any buyers, and I do listings that, that's another one of my strategies, is to build the brand so that I can continue to step back. So we're in the process of doing that. But yes, I am in production.
Love it. And that's, being in highest dollar producing activities. And I talk about this a good bit, that the top 3 for an agent: number 1, a listing appointment; number 2, negotiating a contract; number 3, prospecting. But for a team leader, the top 3 activities are: number 1, strategy; number 2, marketing; and number 3, innovation. And that's, I'm tearing out from Tony Robbins' Business Mastery Playbook, those 3 top things that an entrepreneur, the leader of a company, should be doing, per Tony Robbins. And do you know what your average agent, like how many homes they sell per year, approximate volume, what their net profit approximately is?
They're all fairly equal. Of our 428 units, 212 were listings, and the balance was, so it's almost 50-50. They service the majority of those 200 plus buyers. They do bring listings if they have an opportunity. And so between the 5 of them, we've got anywhere from 24 units to about 50 units per.
Nice.
So they're making, if you kind of want to talk about money, they're in the 150 to 250 a year.
Wonderful. Amazing. Because, and I think a lot of the general public thinks that real estate agents, they're all rich. It's kind of like they're just all rich people and they make so much money. But the facts are that is not the truth. The latest report that came out per NAR stated that the average realtor I think it was just over $42,000 gross per year, with over $5,000 in expenses, which brings the average net to around $38,000 per year. And that's realtors. If we talk about all licensees, it's probably around $20,000 to $25,000 net income, and your agents are netting $150,000 to $200,000 per year. So you've changed some lives in there. Do you mind if I ask, like, can you give an example of where one of your agents were prior to joining your team? Like, where were they in life? Like, was one a hairstylist that, you know, made 30 or 40 a year, and now they're doing 200 a year?
It's amazing. I have story after story, but I'll tell you two. One was a nurse making around 60 grand a year. And she came to us and said, I want to be a real estate agent. We talked to her. She was a good fit. We had the value and the leadership that we thought she needed. And she will almost 200 grand in her second year.
Wow.
This was third year. So she's happy. Her husband's happy. Another one was actually an agent at Remax that was struggling. And we just so happened to sit by her at a company function. And my husband was sitting between she and I, and he whispered to me, he said, I like this girl. She's smart. How much has she done? And I said, she struggles. And he said, well, let's see if she'd even be interested in coming up under your wing and seeing what she can do. And we have quarterly income meetings and committee meetings with them. And when we do it, it's tears of joy every time.
How did you take that struggling agent from mediocrity into greatness?
Well, this is what I feel like agents need, especially on a team. You know, I'm very pro team, especially with new agents. I think they need to get their start so that their learning curve is not so steep. So with a new agent, we want to make sure that they're included. You know, believe it or not, agents don't go to or leave brokerages. Money is like the least motivating factor of all. They want the leadership and the value. So that's what we offer them, from the technology to the training. And when I talk about inclusion, I always tell people, I said, we love on our agents. If they're sick, the sick box. If their birthday, flowers. If they're struggling, we make sure that we bring them, we call it the struggle bus, and we get them off the struggle buses quickly. So we're transparent. There's not a special deal for you and then a different one for the next one. Everybody has an opportunity to excel. And I think that probably the most important thing, and I don't call it goals, I call it commitments, because I have a commitment to them, and they have a commitment to themselves, which some people call goals. I like commitment better, but our commitment to them is success. And then if they follow our onboarding and our, we give them the leads, we give them the technology, anything that they need. But most importantly, they love the inclusion and the recognition. They like to be recognized. And so we're starting to recruit through our social media. I want people to know what my team agents do. So if I just have a brand new agent that just joined the team, and she has 5 deals in escrow, and she's been an agent for 4 years. She's never had 5 deals in escrow. She's
Love
got
that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing that it just does not change their business. This changes people's lives, period.
That's what it's all about. And we like to tell people, like I just did a Facebook post about Nicole. She's our new agent. Same girl, different environment. You know, she just needed some confidence, and she needed support, and she just needed somebody to look her in the eye and tell her, you can do this. Let me help you do this.
Yeah, and that is the topic. This episode is agent attraction and retention, because it doesn't matter how many agents you attract if you don't retain them. And if I'm hearing you right, you have a lot. Not only do you get agents, they stay with you.
Yes.
What do you think the key is? Is it what you're saying as far as like loving on them and the unity part of them being a part of your team?
I think that's they like each other. They call me Mama T. I take care of them. You know, we've been
I've
down.
seen that on social media, on your
Yeah,
social media.
they do. That's what the industry calls me in my industry, because it's not just team agents. It's our, we're all in this together. So I think the retention is because we let them make money and they know that everything's transparent. Like recently, I had a past client call, and anything over $1 million is luxury in our market, and there's not many
Mm.
of. So I had a 1.375 buyer, and it was Jennifer's turn for one of my, I try to be as fair as I can about my
The
call.
rotation.
Yes. And so anyway, I called her and I said, hey, you go show my friend this house, and 1.275, bam. That's what it sold for. And, right before Christmas, it was just one of those, and they know they know the good is coming from what they do, and then from what we're going to give them.
Love
So
it. And I know by your numbers and how much business that your agents do and the culture that you have, you don't just hire anyone. What are the standards that you have for someone to be on your team?
I'm a little different. I don't care what their disc is or their
Yeah,
personal
I agree.
profile. A lot of people push that. I don't care. I like to meet them, and if I like them, they're going to get a chance. They're going to get a chance.
What
I,
kind of qualities do you like?
I like somebody, like when they come and interview with me, probably the first thing, I like them to look at me and talk to me. I like the twinkle in their eye. I like to know, do you want to make more money or do you want more time? Because I can help you with both. And I just get them talking. And at the end of that conversation, I'm like, you know what? I like Jason Williford. Let's get him in here and see what he can do. And
Are you hiring me?
Yeah, come on. You want to
Pack my stuff and move to Louisiana. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you come on. I have a little bit different philosophy about, we don't have a number of calls that they have to make. To me, a great real estate agent is not a call center employee. So you can hire ISAs and VAs for that. So
is that part of your team makeup? Do you have ISAs?
We have one, and we use him seasonally. And inventory, our market, we've never been in a seller's market in my whole career until the last 2 years. So where we generally carry 100, 110 listings, we're down to about 35.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, he helps with drumming up listings. I just don't think that model works for us, because that's not where we are. We don't cold call. We don't circle dial. I know how to do all of it. I've done all of it.
Because you're a marketer.
Yes. So there's
attract business versus chase it.
That's it. And so we let someone do those cold calls and nurturing calls for us. We have a great CRM, and I just take care of them. I check on them every day, and by text or by phone call.
What are, during the interviewing process, what are turnoffs to you?
If they start telling me that they only want to work, they need off at 2:00 every day, they don't want to work the weekends, I'll meet them where they are to an extent, because we only hire full-time agents. All of my agents have kids except one, and they're all at that age where they are self-sufficient, 13, 14, 15 years old. That's helpful. And because, little kids require a lot of mom and dad time. And so, not that kids are a turnoff, but it's a good, my youngest agent's 32. My oldest one is probably mid 40s, and they have supportive husbands. It's pretty much a requirement that I speak to the husband to let them know what kind of commitment that their wife's about to make.
I did that too. I implemented that as well. And what I learned through the years, just as much about their professional and personal development is what I found out. And that was just a couple of years ago, just from doing a lot of interviews. And really, when I'm interviewing, I want to not look after Jason's best interest. I'm looking after the best interest of that person on the other side of the table. And quite honestly, when I'm done interviewing, only about 50% of them are going to be coming to the team. And
Same.
the other 50% are going to say, hey, man, you know what? I appreciate it. This isn't for me, but I appreciate you being honest with me, because these are these people, not just them, it's their family they're having to support. And it's and one issue that I had early on in interviewing, because I do come from a strong sales background. So guess what? I would unintentionally go into, subconsciously, while interviewing, I go into sales mode.
Sure.
How great we are and what we can do for them versus, a true interview, digging in, to see if they are going to be committed. Like you talking about being committed. You're either committed or you're not. You're all in or you're not. And
what are you for? What kind of, I always tell them, if you got on the team today and we fast forward a year later, what does that look like to you? What have you been doing for a year? And it's easy for them to say, oh, I've made 100 grand. I've made 150 grand. Cause we do work for money, obviously, but a lot of them, like I said,
you worked your tail off in real estate. You are not given anything if you netted or even grossed $150,000 in real estate.
You have worked, and I have.
Worked.
In my first year, we spoke about me doing 23 million, and I have cool stories, but the main thing was I had this favorite pair of black shoes. And one day I'm sitting there with my feet propped up, and my husband's like, Tammi, you have holes in the bottom of your shoes. And I took them off, and he put them in a bag, and he said, I'm keeping these forever. And I'm like, no, those are my lucky black shoes, Anyway,
those are lucky black shoes.
They were. And
I think it had more to do with the woman inside of those shoes, but anyway.
That's it. But I wore the soles off, and I always tell them, if you really, especially when you just hit the ground, I wasn't from here. So I didn't have the church, the high school, I didn't have that sphere to come in. I was brand new. I was pulling them over at the country club when they let their dog out to pee, saying, hey, you've got a license plate from Illinois. What you doing in Louisiana, and selling them houses. And it was, I worked 14 hours a day. I literally, when I got up, I went and hit the new construction neighborhoods. And when I got home, I started putting them in a CRM, which truthfully, my CRM was a piece of paper and pen.
It wasn't even a Google spreadsheet. It was paper and a pen.
It was that, because that's all I had time to. So and it's a funny thing, because I have a great CRM, but when I'm doing something like meeting with you, I have old trusty. There's my. Absolutely.
Hey, it's what works best for you. And obviously doing $23 million in volume in your first year, you've got grit and you're a hustler in a good way. You hustle to make a difference in people's lives. One thing, why do you feel that agents leave other teams? Because just like a lead is not a lead, and a independent agent is not independent agent, it's not independent agent. Just because someone says I have a team, all teams are not the same either, because you have some teams that may have 20 agents and do 8 million in volume in a decent price point market. But why, with a lot of turnover, a lot of churn, why do you feel agents leave other teams?
I don't think it's money. I think it's leadership and value. You have to feel like you're getting value, because obviously on a team, you're splitting money at some level, whatever your structure is. So the leadership, I think that, and the value, what do we give our agents? We give them, they have no expenses. We supply the transaction coordinator. We put out their sign in lockbox. We market for them. We do everything. All they're required to do is list and sell. And there's value there.
It's in the book. It's and I can't remember exactly how I wrote it in the book, but Abraham talks a lot about having upside leverage and having as little as possible or no downside leverage. Now, what is downside leverage? Downside leverage is expenses, it's the risk, it's all of that stuff. The upside is the reward. So upside reward, downside risk. And really, to be on a team, an agent on a team, even though you're paying back splits, you have very little downside and all the upside. Like probably how you have your structure set up for your team, there's probably not too much risk for the agents, heaven forbid, if something just automatically crashed in the world or the economy or in the market, that they're not left holding the bag, right?
If it's out of our control, that's one thing, but any other thing than that we've got their back and they know it. And I think that to bring that back around, I will actually call, like if I found out Jason moved from broker A to broker B, then I'm going to call him a month or so in and say, Jason, I know you left. Would you just kind of tell me why? Because I want to know, make sure that we don't duplicate. And it's almost always, rarely money. It's usually acknowledgement, the recognition, and they feel like they say this over and over. They weren't doing anything for me.
Do you feel a lot of time it came back to communication and misunderstandings?
I do, because I know some of the brokers that they left would be more than willing to do anything for them, but that line of communication was broken at some point, and you got to check on people. People need to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. That's important. And a great structured real estate team, they've got that inclusion. They feel like they're, they may do, the girl that we just brought on wasn't doing $1 million a year. She'll do over $1 million this month. And she just felt like she was just out there floating. I think that's why so many real estate agents fail their first couple of years, is because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do.
And I know you're like me in this sense, in building and onboarding. I know you have an onboarding process, and just going back to my processes is that, that was just the standard. And the standard was that whether you've been licensed for 1 day or 30 years, everyone went through our immersion boot camp. That very first week, 44 hours in class training, then about another 20 approximate hours after that was at home role playing, drilling, practicing, rehearsing over and over. And a lot of that was incorporated also, in the 44 hours in class training. But not only that, but there was an 84-day rant, a rant period.
Sure.
In their first year, theoretically, because it's kind of hard to track, but theoretically, and the agents know and knew this, that they grew in their first year what it would take for them to do 7 or 10 years by themselves.
Yes. And that's, that's invaluable. And another thing that I think is important is your principles and your values have to be clear. And so what our agents know is we expect 24 transactions a year out of a minimum. And not the first year. We'll give anybody the first year. But at the end of, say, the second year, if they don't meet those requirements and there wasn't, and we've done our part to get them there is, I'm not the bad person to say, I think that you would be better off somewhere else or whatever, because they already know it's coming, because our principles and our values are spelled out. We have an operating manual. Everybody signs it. And, I think the clarity and confusion when agents leave, a lot of times they're also confused. They just need a straight path and a lot of communication.
Absolutely. And I had a friend that said this in a mastermind one time, and I won't forget it, but he said, and it came from a book that he read, but he said that expectations without an agreement is a dream. Like you and I, in our relationship. We could have expectations of each other in our own mind without any agreement, and we can be expecting things from each other that we never agreed upon. And same thing goes back to you and your husband, which sounds like you have an amazing husband, by the way, amazing relationship with each other. But also going back to the team members, that, you know, expectation without an agreement is nothing but a dream. So it sounds like, just like I did, you have, you know, commitments that they make to you, while not only they're making to themselves, but they're also making them to you, that, hey, here's what Tammy's going to be giving for you, but also, you know, I need a commitment for you too, that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And one of those big KPIs for you, obviously, just like it was for me, is, you know, 24 deals minimum per year, which in a team model is easily achievable, just by working a little bit, not working 90 hours a week either. What going into agent attraction, and I know that you're looking to expand your team into a new market, but also add additional agents to your team. And I think that agent attraction is marketing. You're just marketing. You're not marketing for sellers and buyers. You're marketing for new agents. What are some things that you have in strategies in place, you know, you're going to use for attracting agents? I think it's the proof of what you've already done is one big thing.
Yes, I want them to look at our social media. I want them to look at, Nicole has been with us for a very short time and 5 in escrow. I want them to feel like something is different there. There is something there that I have to have a piece of. I want them to be from the outside in, because my conversations when I call an agent or message an agent is rarely about recruitment or even real estate for a while. I touch them 3 to 5 times just on a personal level. I congratulate them. I hope that I am giving something that's missing so that they fall in love with my team and my leadership, and they think, I got to go there. I got to go try this.
And I know you do, and it sounds like you do. You do it just because that's who Tammi is. That's the type person that you are. Again, not operating in that mindset of scarcity, that you operate in the mindset of abundance, and you don't have that fear of loss that, hey, I'm training the competition by letting this other agent know this and this. You're truly just trying to help people. And I think that's the key of it, is when you deliver more value than they're currently getting, that they just automatically start to gravitate towards you. And they see it on your social media. I see it on your social media, the success that your agents are having. And, you know, it's flat out phenomenal that you can do over $200 million a year with 6 agents total, you and 5 others.
Well, and I also, from reaching out to agents at other brokerages, not for recruiting, because many of them have no intention of leaving. They're very happy. I still offer my help. They'll come and speak to me. They'll say, can I come and talk to you? You know, and sure, my door is always open. So agents from other brokerages that have never had any intention of coming over to my team, they just want some good, where'd you come from? How'd you do it? Advice. And that's another key. I think you have to give your gifts away. And that's so important because that elevates everybody. And most
What's your number one gift?
This, talking to people, making them feel included. And I'm a strong listing agent. So, you know, come on, let me role play with you and let me see what's going on. Because if you're struggling having a listing, and I don't care what company they're with, if they want to speak to me, I give it away. I give it away daily to my agents. But even in the market, it's a, you know, and that's a value of Tammi, not on a professional level, but on a personal level.
Tammi. That's just who Tammi is.
Yep.
And I've never been to, how do you pronounce Bossier City? Bossier
City.
Bossier City.
Yeah.
Never have I been there. But again, if I was willing to bet and I went there, I would bet that not just your agents on your team and not just the agents at Remax, but I would bet that many of the agents in your marketplace, no matter what brokerage they work under, have respect and love for you.
I would sure hope so, because I sure do pour into all humans, not just, on my team, but some of the agents that have left Remax, I have 2 Remax agents that left my team because they actually were doing so well, they wanted to go out on their own. And we support that fully. And I talk to them 2 or 3 times a week. They still call me for guidance. They still call me to share their wins. And when you've got other agents that you have no benefit from calling you to share their wins, that's when you know how they feel about you. They want me to know. And I think that's just from, maybe, I don't know, from parenting 2 kids or whatever, just pouring into people just outside of a professional level, just on a human level. It's so important, and it's gratifying to me. That's why I get up every day and go to work. And that's why I want to grow a team. And I say for profit, yes, it's a great thing, but it's more for you than it is for me, because I want to see more. My agent that left that had done so well this year, he was a cop in Bossier City making $35,000 a year. And when he left, he was making $250,000. I mean,
wow,
life changing.
that's amazing.
It's amazing.
I would guarantee you, well, I can't say I would guarantee you. Again, I would bet, I don't know why I'm stuck on that one, this episode, but I would bet that that gentleman probably never fathomed in his entire life that he would be making $250,000 net in a year. Net, not gross commission.
Net.
There's a huge difference.
There's a huge difference.
The net. And I think it's easy for agents to get drunk off of gross.
Sure.
Because we see that a lot with teams. I'm sure you've seen that a lot in your years that, we did X amount of, we sold X amount of volume this year and did X amount and did Y amount of commission. But then you also know behind the scenes that there wasn't much profit there.
No, their profit and loss was horrible. And that's another thing that we try to get our agents to invest and save. And, because
love that.
The profit is so important. My husband's huge into investments, and we provide them the tools if they want to go flip a house. We've got a contractor that'll help them. I mean, we try to, you mentioned different pillars of business. We also own a mortgage company. My husband owns a mortgage company.
I love that.
Yes. So, we've got our finger in a lot of pieces of the pie, but it's all so good. It's just good. And anyway, that profit first is an incredible, it really doesn't matter what you gross, not at all. It's how much you save.
And again, I applaud you because there's a saying that that I learned, and it's not of mine, but life gives to the givers and takes from the takers. And without a doubt, you are a giver to the 10th degree. You're a 10th degree black belt in giving. I see it all the time on social media, and I'm obviously speaking with you a couple of times and in this interview. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with, like as far as other team leaders that haven't reached the pinnacle that you have yet, that are struggling as team leaders? Is there any advice that you'd like to give them?
Continue to recruit, and that's probably the number one. And if they want to hopefully watch my business growth, that we're expanding that in South Louisiana, but recruit the people that it's a two-way street. We talk about communication and value. They give to me, I give to them. And just remember, as humans, there's a lot more to attraction than money, because at our core, we need other things outside. I mean, yes, we have to have money to pay our bills. That's a given, but I'm just talking on a different level. If you will operate from a spirit of abundance and not scarcity, people notice that, and that attracts them to you, and you should be able to grow. The sky's the limit.
Just like with lead gen, I would much rather, same thing with agents. I'd rather not just per marketing, but being a strategic marketer, I'd much rather attract agents, and I'd rather attract sellers and buyers than have to chase them.
That's exactly.
And you said it, and you've probably seen that old movie, Glenn Ross, and they say ABC, always be closing. I changed that to ABR, always be recruiting, because I think it's just powerful when, because you probably have a rabbit on your sales force. Like what's the top that your top agent is doing, like volume approximately last year, like the best?
About, let's see, I have another Nicole, and she ended up with probably around 50 or 55 units. I don't have it right in front of me. So she's probably close to 20, 22, 23 million.
Heck yeah, that's a great year. One agent, look at 22 million, 55 homes, and that's a difference that if your top agent just did 4 million and 12 homes. That's an example, that the rest of the pack sees, and I just think that that's just a crucial piece of all of it, is having that rabbit, not that figurative rabbit, that you have, that that's proving your business model works and their profitability works. And shoot, I think you are doing and have done an amazing job. Appreciate you being with us today. And before we wrap up, if there are when agents have some referrals that are available in Shreveport, and how do they get in touch with you?
My website's calltammi.com. That's the easiest, or you can Google Shreveport or Bossier Realtor, and I should be at the top of the Google list. So Tammi Montgomery at Remax.
And that's Tammi with an I.
Tammi with an I. And then on Facebook, of course, my personal is Tammi Montgomery, but my team is Tammi Montgomery Real Estate Experts. So if they want to connect with me online, we're easy to find there too. And I'm happy to share anything with them, any systems that we use, anything like that. And of course, we would love to take care of their referrals.
Love it, Tammi. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you have an amazing, I know you will have an amazing 2022, and your agents will. Wonderful job.
We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of The Ultimate Real Estate Machine. May your real estate machine be extremely rewarding, fulfilling, and life-changing for you and all the people that you impact. Claim those skyrocketing results that you demand from your real estate business. Subscribe to the show for more content like this at ultimaterealestatemachine.thepodcast.com. And don't forget to leave a positive rating. Thank you for joining us. See you on the next episode.